So this is Psalms 23. And why don't we just recite it all together? Okay. The Lord is my shepherd. Here he goes. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
I want us to continue singing this morning if we can. Actually, I want us to open to Exodus 15. We're going to read the song because we don't know how it goes. And if we sing it, it'll be interesting. God will get the glory for it. But Exodus 15, all we have is the lyrics. No tune to go by, but the lyrics are where it's at anyway. So Exodus 15. Welcome to everyone. If it's your first time here, welcome. If you're coming back after a first time here, I'm glad you decided to come back. And if you're a regular here at KOP, thank you for being here again. Exodus 15. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord, starting right at the beginning. I will sing to the Lord, for he's highly exalted. Both horse and driver he has hurled into the sea. The Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will praise him. My Father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a warrior. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army he has hurled into the sea. The best of Pharaoh's officers are drowned in the Red Sea. The deep waters have covered them. They sank to the depths like a stone. Your right hand, Lord, was majestic in power. Your right hand, Lord, shattered the enemy. As we sing this, we have to remember the context of it. It's a song that former slaves are singing. Freedom was not at all on the horizon, and now it is, and that's why they're singing it. People from the family of Abraham and Isaac and that lineage as it continues, instead of just going down, it's gone out. There's so many of them. Slaves of Egypt for 4 centuries, now they're free. They're free. They haven't known what freedom is like, and now they're on the verge of it. Do you ever sing when things go well in your own life? You know, it's not, you wouldn't admit it to anybody, you wouldn't admit necessarily what the song is, but things are good, you break out into song. Let's hear a little bit more of the song. Go down to verse 12. Verse 12. You stretch out your right hand and the earth swallows your enemies. In your unfailing love you will lead the people you have redeemed. In your strength you will guide them to your holy dwelling. It's a song of faith. Now, why would I say that? You know, there's definitely a rhythm of victory in that we can hear, but it's also a song of faith. Generation after generation after generation, they've been in control of another. They've been working for the Egyptian government, but not at all in the way that they wanted to, not all the way it had started out. Slavery was horrible, but at least in slavery, they knew what came tomorrow, and tomorrow would look just like today, which looked just like the day before, which looked just like the day before and had for a long time. And now, even though they're free, they're stepping out into the unknown. When you just read the events that led up to it, even then, it's like, what else is coming next? Having witnessed the plagues and the Passover, they're now poised to go on a journey. A journey to a place that they've never been to, a place that they've only heard about. It's been passed on from one generation to the next, that this is the place we'll go back to sometime, and it's been said now for years. But they sing this song of faith. Listen again. You stretch out your right hand, and the earth swallows your enemies. In your unfailing love, you will lead the people you have redeemed. In your strength, you will guide them to your holy dwelling. Their song to God says, we know that you love enough to lead us. We don't know where we're going. We don't know how we're going to get there, but we just know you love us enough to lead us. We know that you're strong enough to guide us. We don't know where we're going. We know that you love us, and we know that you are strong enough. You've demonstrated it. You're strong enough to guide us, to help us navigate from point A to point B. In chapter 13, listen to what's said. If the plagues and the Passover are not enough, listen to what God is doing. Chapter 13, it's verses 21 and 22. By day the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people. Heaven is leading the way for these people. It is no wonder they're singing. Out in front of these people is the Lord. Very visibly, very clearly. Would the people go left or would the people go right? The cloud and the light or the fire at night would lead the way. Would they camp here or would they camp over that rise? The cloud and the light or the fire at night, it would lead. Heaven is out in front, leading the way. And the songs are sung out. We come back to that song, and it's like, that makes sense. The songs are sung out until the desert dries them out. The songs are sung out until the desert dries them out. It doesn't take too long. I'll show you what I mean. Go again to chapter 15. Chapter 15 again, verse 22. This is just shortly after this song being sung, this song of victory and the song of faith. In verse 22, then Moses led Israel from the Red Sea, and they went into the desert of Shur. For 3 days they traveled in the desert without finding water. When they came to Marah, they could not drink its water because it was bitter. That's why the place is called Marah. So the people grumbled against Moses, saying, what are we to drink? At least when we were enslaved in Egypt, we had access to water. The song of God's leading isn't being sung here. Instead, we can hear this tune of grumbling. Thirst replaces guidance. Questions replace certainty, both of which were being sung. If you could have any day go just perfect, what are some things in your day? What would make up that day? If you could have the perfect day, you can talk back to me on this part. What are some things that would make for a perfect day? Anything. Perfect day. Talk to me. If you could have the perfect day. No aches and pains. That would be, yeah. Just give me that until lunch. I'll be good with that. That's right. That's right, Warren. 75 and sunny. That would be no pain and then the weather to match it. Something else. Perfect day. Dream with me. It's all right. What else? Just to get through the day and then day off from work. Yeah, I mean, if we can dream this. Yeah, and not have it affect pay in any way. Yeah, all right. What about, though, if you could have a week where everything went just right? What is it that would make it good? What would the perfect week look like? What do you think, Daniel? Kids go to stay with their grandparents. It's like Christmas coming early, huh? What else? Tiffany? Free gas, that's right, yeah. You go to Wawa, they're out there ready to pump it. You feel like you're in New Jersey. Yeah, but it's free. Yeah. Because the kids are at grandparents. Dominic? Oh, yes. The flowers come home. Yeah. All right. There was Judy? Spend time with friends or family. Yeah, all those other appointments, those social things called doctor's visits, all that stuff's aside, time with friends and family. That perfect week. Tiffany, one more. Family politics. We won't ask for a show of hands. We'll just assume that you might know what that's about. Yeah. So Thanksgiving, that time without all the other entrapments, if you will. Yeah. All right. Good. Think with me again. If you could have a month that was just right. We've thought about a day. We've thought about a week. If you could just have a month, what would that? What is it that would make it perfect? A month. Free mortgage, yeah, that's right. They call and say, we don't know what happened, but this month's just taken care of. Yeah. And you don't ask why, you just hang up. Yeah. Really? All your prayers, yeah, can you imagine that? Yeah, it's just all the needs, all those things we're praying about, yeah, just taken care of. Good. What else? Dominic? Dominic, you've had one for everyone. Okay. Oh, yeah. No bad news. And maybe tying back into these. Yeah, no bad news comes. It's just those things that you hear. It's good. Perfect month. What else? One more. Perfect month. What else? Rosie? A clean house. Yeah. And you held that one for the month. That's right. Yeah, it's just taken care of. Where the dust bunnies are usually at, there are none. Yeah. You don't even have to mess with getting rid of them. Good. And we sing. It's at these times when these things do happen, we get just a glimpse of them. We sing, we borrow from Chris Tomlin and we sing, you're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. Yeah, or we sing, God answers, or God is so good. Then He answers. Those are those songs that we sing because things are going that good. And other songs that we add to that, but then it happens. The call comes, we get the news, we learn of the notice. And the perfect day or week or month stops. And that song that we're singing ceases. What have been, if you want to share, what have been some recent calls like that, or news like that, or notices like that have you gotten? If you want to share, I won't hold out if Rosie. Okay, you have bad inspection of your vehicle. Yeah, sure. That's not planning on it and then find out, because usually with that comes a price tag. Not only the inspection itself, but what needs to be fixed. Yeah. And if it's that on top of other calls or news or notices, what else? What else has come that's shattered one of these three for you? Anybody else?
Car breaks down, going to the doctor.
Car breaks down, going to the doctor. You think, what else? What else today? And when I actually get there, then what are they going to tell me? Yeah. Yeah. What else? David? Someone passes away unexpectedly, especially when they're young. It's not planned on at all, and then even if it is, knowing that something might be imminent, it shatters us on the inside. Those following the leader at this time, they sang. They followed the leading of Moses leading, and then there was no water. When we sing and then it happens, and when that occurs, what do you do? What do we do? As the years went on, those following the cloud and the light and the fire at night, they sang some, but they grumbled so much more. It's the book of Exodus and beyond. But why did they grumble? Because it didn't always go like they thought it should. It didn't go like they thought it would if they were in control. But listen to this. It's the very end of the book of Exodus. It's chapter 40, the last 3 verses. In all the travels of the Israelites, all of them, whenever the cloud lifted from above the tabernacle, they would set out. But if the cloud did not lift, they did not set out until the day it lifted. So the cloud of the Lord was over the tabernacle by day, and fire was in the cloud by night, in the sight of all the Israelites during all their travels. And if we keep reading the story, you'll find out they made it to their destination. We have to read a little bit more, but they'll make it to their destination. Heaven was always leading the way. There were perfect days and weeks and months, but there was plenty of grumbling. Lots of singing, plenty of grumbling. And heaven was always, always leading the way. Being led by a light, it's not just something told in the Bible. In 1965, it led to another kind of rescue. It was a cave rescue. And the light didn't help in the way that you think it might have. The location was Stone County, Arkansas. Steve and 3 of his friends, they ranged in age from 20 to 42. They were exploring a cave. They were exploring one cave because they thought they had heard that there might actually be a route from this cave to some nearby caverns. Being explorers, they thought they would see if they could figure out where that was and where these two connected. After the 3rd day, they didn't find the route that they'd hoped for, and spending time in this cave, they decided they'd go ahead and turn around and come back out. But a room in a cave that they had come through, they needed to go back through, and when they got back to it, because of the rains outside, this room was now full of water, and the water was continuing to rise. When the 4 explorers didn't return, there were others that had planned to go with them but couldn't go. And when they didn't return, they knew something was up, so they notified the authorities. Local crews tried on 2 different attempts to reach them, and they failed. Navy divers were called in from the East Coast. The rain and the fog kept the divers from getting there. Once they got to Arkansas, they were going to be flown in. They couldn't get there that way. They had to be driven in from nearby. One thing the cave did have was a rudimentary lighting system. Apparently there were tours that were offered there on occasion, and somebody had put up some basic lighting to accommodate those who wanted to do that. The 4 men trapped inside, they shorted the lights out so that those outside might get some kind of idea, we're still alive in here. Well, those outside saw that the lights are out, and what they did was they used the same lights to send a message back using Morse code, send it back. The problem was none of the explorers knew Morse code. Does anybody here know Morse code? I don't know Morse code. Yeah, I'm just going to see it's just flashing. It's like, good, now they know, but we don't know what they know necessarily. Finally, as 3 of them slept, and one would keep an eye on the rising water levels, the bubbles that were showing up in the water finally yielded one of the Navy divers. They'd found him. So the other divers come up, and then finally each diver took 1 man and got them back out, got them back outside, no longer underground in Arkansas, but on the way out. Fortunately for the explorers like those in the desert, somebody was there to lead the way out, the way to freedom, you might say. From the beginning of the Bible in Exodus, I want you to go with me closer to the end. Go with me to the other part of the Bible. We've been in the Old Testament. I want us to go to the New Testament. The story that is being told there also begins with a song sung by a woman, a young girl who's told she's going to have a baby. She sings a song. And do you remember how some wise men found this baby? Remember the story? How did the wise men know where this baby was? Joe says, the star. By a light in the heavens. It's in Matthew chapter 2. The baby grows, and John is one of 4 people who tell about this man named Jesus, starting out as this baby named Jesus. In John chapter 3, John writes this, beginning in verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. Whoever believes in him is not condemned, but whoever does not believe stands condemned already, because they have not believed in the name of God's one and only Son. This is the verdict. Light has come into the world. But people love darkness instead of light because their deeds were evil. Everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed. But whoever lives by the truth comes into the light so that it may be seen plainly that what they have done has been done in the sight of God. God was still leading. We're a long time from Exodus by the time we read this. God is still leading. Heaven was still lighting the way. In fact, John even says, lights come into the world. Jesus was sent into the world to be the light of the world, to be the light to the world. God's mission in Jesus, to do what God has been doing since the very beginning, to lead. To lead. God's mission in Jesus, to lead. To lead. In Jesus, heaven kept showing the way to go, the way to live, the way to survive, the way to arrive. Heaven was still leading the way. If Jesus is leading, though, then that puts him somewhere. If Jesus is out front, what's he saying? John tells us more. Go back a little bit in John chapter 1. In verse 35, the next day John, this would be John the Baptist, was there again with 2 of his disciples. When he saw Jesus passing by, he said, "Look, the Lamb of God." When the 2 disciples heard him say this, they followed Jesus. Turning around, Jesus saw them following and asked, "What do you want?" They said, "Rabbi," which means teacher, "where are you staying?" "Come," he replied, and you'll see. So they went and saw where he was staying, and they spent that day with him. Some were following, questioning, and then told they could keep following. You see, the one from heaven is leading the way. He's out front. The one sent to light the way said, "Come, and you'll see." And a short time later, in verse 43, the next day, Jesus decided to leave for Galilee. Finding Philip, he said to him, and it's no surprise, "Follow me. Follow me. Follow me." God's mission in Jesus is to lead. It's no wonder he's saying, "Follow me." The light is leading the way. Follow me. Heaven could have used the language of heaven, whatever the language of heaven is. We can't say it's English, because if it was English, then how do those who speak Spanish understand the language of heaven? If it's Spanish, how do we understand? There's a language of heaven. Something's being used. It's a language we don't understand. It's kind of like Morse code to the explorers. One side knows the language, the other side doesn't. So heaven gets in front and lights the way. This is the way we'll go. Do you want to know what the code is? How do we decipher it? The code is, follow me. Follow me. Follow me, says Jesus. And it's just as if John thinks we might not get it. And sometimes I don't get it. It takes me a long time. John writes, when Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. It's chapter 8, verse 12. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness. Jesus puts it together for us. I am the light. Follow my lead. I am the light. Follow my lead. God's mission in Jesus, to lead. To lead. Following the leading of the light. But know you can go from freedom to a desert before your song is even finished. Know that the waters can rise quicker than you realize. Sometimes we turn around to go another way and the waters have risen. Following the leader is not always easy. Matthew, like John, he wrote about Jesus. He wrote this. Then Jesus said to his disciples, whoever wants to be my disciple, my follower, must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. Following Jesus means following the lead of no one else, of nothing else. Because anything else means you're following that or following them. There's only one in front. Remember the explorers? Each of them followed a diver out of the cave. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're all out. They no sooner got out of the cave and one of the Navy divers had a heart attack and died on the scene. Leading is not always easy, and following is not always easy. When Jesus says, follow me, consider whether you really want to follow or not, knowing where his story goes. But don't forget where he's leading. He's leading right back to where he came from. He's the one that knows the way. To those who decide to follow Jesus, Jesus said this. Matthew writes this for us. Jesus said, you are the light of the world. A town on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. And in the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Now through us, heaven keeps leading. Now through us, heaven keeps leading. God's mission in Jesus is still to lead, but he's doing it through those who are following Jesus. It's kind of like follow the leader. We played when we were much smaller, except it's not a game. We're still following the leader, but it's about finding the place where God wants you to be. As a person, where is God wanting to lead you? Where is God wanting to lead you? Where is God talking to you through others, through the Word, through His Spirit? Where is He wanting to lead you? And a question like that, I know sometimes you get it, it's like, I got to think about that for a little bit. And that's fine. Others you hear it, it's like, I know exactly where He wants to lead me. To do this, to say this, to be this. Where does He want you to go so you can keep leading others? Because that's why He's leading us. That's why He was leading in Exodus. It always points back to Him. What does He want you to do so He can keep leading others? Because now we're the lights on the hill. As Jesus is the light. As God was leading by a cloud in the light and a fire at night. As a church family, where is God wanting to lead us? We have to think individually. Paul, when he writes to the church in Corinth, he speaks to them individually, but he also speaks to them collectively. You're the body. You're the body. He goes both ways with it. As a church, where is God wanting to lead us? It's His church. Where is the head wanting to take the body? What's he want the body to do? What does he want us to do so we can keep leading others? We've asked it individually. Think about it collectively. What does he want us to do so we will keep leading others? Well, keep singing the songs. Keep singing those songs of faith, those times when things do go good and we get the glimpse of a perfect day or week or month or year, and keep singing those songs that come to mind. Keep singing them knowing that we're being led to a place that we've only heard about. We've been given a glimpse of it in Jesus, but He's getting it ready for us. There's still waters to pass through. There's still deserts that we have to navigate yet. But the light of the world is still in front, leading the way. Will we sing those songs? Will we sing the songs of grumbling? Or will we just follow in and follow the light? I want you to join us next week. We'll hear more about God's mission in Jesus. He's doing a lot in Jesus. But this week, God's mission in Jesus. To lead you, to lead us. David.
Thank you.